Hey guys!
What's up, y'all? Good morning. Welcome to We're Married. What now?
Episode 5.
Sunday, January 14th. Had a great service in church this morning. We also just read chapter 4 of the 5 love languages. We went over the first love language today. So, without further ado, we're going to get right into it. Katie, take us away.
On the first page of chapter 4, we are now getting into the first love language, which is words of affirmation, which I think is one of Josh's, but as we read the chapter, it could be one of mine as well. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we're finding out as it described the different forms, I guess, of the words of affirmation, the different types of words of affirmation. We realized there's more than we thought, and we both found some stuff in there about each of us. So.
Oh, definitely. He actually was kind of excited because he thought the chapter would be kind of like what.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be describing the type of love language and figuring out if you were that or not, but it went more in depth than I thought it would,
and gave
it would,
a lot of examples.
Yeah, it was cool. So better chapter than I thought it would be. It exceeded my expectations.
Yes. So the first page, which was kind of funny because it coincided with the sermon today at church. It was saying how the tongue has the power of life or death, and we always hear that, and that it's something you've heard before.
But think about it. The tongue has the power of life or death. It doesn't say life or maybe in between, maybe some good. It's like life or death. So I'm gonna let her keep going, but think about that. Life or death. No in between. Just is the tongue, is what you're speaking life, or is what you're speaking death? And what you're hearing, is it life, or what you're hearing, is it death? Okay. Keep going.
But so it was kind of funny because we had just heard that in church, and it was really impactful to us. And then we come home and we start reading our chapter for today.
And the first page,
first page.
Same thing the pastor talked about today. Yeah, we're gonna talk more about that after. But right now we want to get right into the chapter and what we went over, especially in case y'all are following the book with us. So let's get into that.
Yes, I think in the beginning he said So the object of love is not getting what you want, but doing something for the one that you love. I know.
So thinking about you're not doing.
Well, it's actually putting your spouse before you.
Yeah.
Is what essentially that is.
Just thinking of them, not thinking of what you're going to get in return. Saying something even in this chapter, the words of affirmation, you're not saying these words of affirmation, you're saying these nice things to your spouse because they're going to say something back to you, or they're going to do what you want them to do. You're just doing it because you love them.
Right.
And you want them to feel loved.
It's kind of like giving, sometimes you'll hear someone say, 50-50%, you give me 50%, I'll give you 50%, we'll make 100.
It's 100 and 0.
Yeah, 100 and 0.
I'm going to give you my 100% even if you give me nothing back.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want that, but you don't expect anything back. You just want to give your 100% for no other reason because you love that person.
The next part that I really liked was that they said Gary Chapman was surprised of how many times individuals will mess up the current day because of yesterday. You have a new beginning. You have a start over. Yeah, because at least I know it can't be just us, that if we don't resolve it that night, I wake up with still a heavy heart. And now our new beginning isn't as good as it could have been if we would have resolved it and if we would have just communicated better. So
there's 2 points to that. It's one, trying to do your best to resolve the issue before you go to bed. I think it's something big to me or to us. But then 2, let yesterday be yesterday. It started talking about forgiveness. It started talking about letting it go because like she was saying, it's a new day. So why are you tarnishing your brand new day with the funk from the past? But I feel like that goes into just you as your personal life, your business life, and definitely your relationship.
No, and he went on to say, so I'm going to spin off of what Josh just ended on. Basically, one of the things in the book said forgiveness is not a feeling but a commitment. And for me, that was big for me, just because sometimes man, I want to forgive and I want to just let it go. But when I tell you, sometimes my ego and pride is, hey.
What she means is she knows she should let it go and she knows she should forgive, but she don't want to.
No, I do not want to. It's like the resentment and the ego and the pride just build up and overpower anything and that at least what I feel, overpower anything that I'm trying to do.
Anything rational.
Yes. So whenever I read that, it really like spoke volumes to me, because here I am like giving myself almost excuses, because I never looked at it like that before until I read this chapter, that forgiveness is not a feeling. Like, if I want to forgive Josh, that's when I'm going to forgive him. No, because then I'll never forgive him. And that's what happens, is I prolong it.
That's why our resolutions, not just us, like, that's why, say we're resolving an issue where she's based, or either one of us is basing it on feelings and not commitment to each other, and the commitment of forgiveness and the power that we know what it'll do. If we rely on our feelings, that's why some small argument may take 3 hours or 3 days to resolve, when it could take 3 minutes or 30 minutes, a lot shorter, if you're realizing what you're doing and that you're caught in your feelings and you're being bitter, or you're leading with your ego, which is the enemy, and all these things, letting go of the feeling and remembering the commitment.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Okay, so I'm very surprised, because whenever I was starting this chapter, I was like, yes, like, words of affirmation, I'm going to be able to learn how... Hold on.
So right.
Stop it. I'm not done. I'm going to learn how to speak Josh's love language. Like, I'm going to know how to talk to him now.
He just needs these words. And
False. This was a conviction chapter for me. 100,000,000%. And I'm not going to be the one to hide it and say, oh no, like none of this applies to me. No, the entire chapters apply to me.
That's what's good about doing these things, is because you have your mind made up, not necessarily to call anyone out or anything. But
Put your finger down.
But you have your mind made up that things are a certain way, and that you just know it, how it is, and my husband needs this, and he needs these words to carry it away.
Yes, we're not trying to do a 20-minute video here.
Sorry, Maury, poor bitch. But yeah, you just may have you made up in your mind that you know what's going on and you know everything about what's happening. But that's why it's good to do things like this, because surprise, it may be a little different than what you thought, or we may realize there's different levels to the thing that we thought we understood, both of us. So
absolutely.
So this next part,
he's excited
I want to read aloud, because
again, convicted.
It says, it was talking about types of different kind of words, like talking about like encouraging words, kind words, humble words, all these different things. Very good chapter.
I love
Definitely read it. But this part was talking about giving guidance, not ultimatum.
And I'm learning, so let me give an example. So Josh, I'm sure everyone knows that's watching this, has a time management
small issue, not the best with time.
But you're getting so much better.
Yes, but it's just not my preferred way of thinking.
So the way that I used to handle it is for me, like if I'm trying to hurry to do something, like I'm going to want someone like on me, like saying, okay, Katie, we need to get this done. Which usually doesn't happen, because usually I like to be early. But anyway. So, but with him, I was like, okay, if that's how I respond to it, that's how he's going to respond to it. For being like, okay, we have to be at church at a certain time. Let me make sure Josh, and I know this sounds crazy, but I'd be like, okay, Josh, like you have X amount of minutes. And I would just like sit in the same room
and
with
watch
him.
me.
And watch him.
But
it makes him anxious.
She didn't realize maybe that
it wasn't helping.
Her ways could be considered nagging ways.
Yes.
Instead of just, giving me the guidance, not the ultimatum, right? So reminding me, because it's true, she is very focused. Focus is, I'm waking up, I'm cleaning the house, I'm doing nothing else until the whole thing's clean. So that's Saturday. So Sundays is church, right? So like she's getting up, she just gets ready and gets ready for church. Me, I woke up, I'm working on a video, I'm doing other things. My focus is, I know we have to go to church, but I'm thinking of all the other things I have to get done first. But anyway, so when we wake up, our focus is different. And she maybe didn't understand that, because, like I said, our focus is different. She's much more task-oriented, and I'm not. Exactly. So by her doing like she did this morning with, taking care of things for me, kind of like, for instance, she cooked bacon and eggs this morning while I was working on a video. Because like when I wake up, I'm very focused on getting my videos done, trying to fit the time in to take the time to do them and work on other projects online. So like by her doing that, and then also like taking Milo outside and doing those kind of things, because I get distracted very easily, it helped. And then also, while she was doing those things, she gave me reminders like, hey Josh, we have X amount of time until we need to leave. Because sometimes when I'm doing something, I don't even look at the clock and I forget what time it is. So by her reminding me, I noticed, then boom, I came to a stopping point. I went and handled what I had to handle and we're ready to go. She gave me my space to get ready, and she didn't just sit there like tapping her foot, which like drives me insane, because like I just feel the pressure and it just makes me more distracted. So by letting me get ready on my own and her not just like Superman laser beam eyes and staring at me, it worked, and we were actually early to church.
The first time ever. And I did not nag. I just gave little reminders and then walked away. That was hard for me.
But by us communicating, she may not realize what I feel
that
like
I was slowing him down.
On. Yeah, by trying to speed me up, she was actually slowing me down.
And he would tell me that, but I wouldn't believe him, because I'm like, how can you get slowed down whenever I'm
rushing you?
Mm-hmm.
And I would always just say I hate rushing, but without diving deeper into that, she didn't know what that meant.
No.
So that in this chapter shined more light on it, what we had just experienced this morning.
Because I actually didn't even, until I read this chapter, I didn't even notice that
she was doing that.
That I was doing. But anyway, now that you know a very detailed situation of our life.
Of our lives. Katie and Josh.
We'll kind of finish this chapter, because the rest of what we have, if you go in your love languages, it's going to be page 52 and 53. It actually gives you a lot of kind of tips and advice. And honestly, Joshua made a good point that even if you don't feel like you or your spouse has a primary love language of words of affirmation, I still feel that it's like a huge thing to work on and to
it's
better.
Definitely important.
They said for 1 week, keep a written record of all the words of affirmation you give your spouse each day. You might be surprised how well or how poorly you speak words of affirmation. So I kind of look at it as like a food journal. Whenever I go ahead and I eat something bad, I usually don't want to put it down on the food journal. It sometimes prevents me from wanting to eat bad, because I'm like, well, I don't want to have to record that. Once you put something on paper, you're able to see it a lot more than if you didn't record it. So it could be the same thing as if I'm wanting to give words of affirmation to Josh, and I go and record my whole week, and I gave 5 for the whole week. I'll notice oh, I thought that I was doing well.
You weren't doing as good as you thought you were.
Yeah.
Same way with the eating. If you record all your meals and you realize you think you don't eat that much sugar, but then you record it down, you're like, oh wow, I ate chocolate chip cookies every day, and then I ate ice cream on the weekend, and I did this. So it's yeah, I get what you're saying is that, or what the book's saying is, writing it down may make you more accountable to what you're actually doing. So it's a good way to stay accountable.
So like I said, if you want to learn more about different ways, you can turn to page 52 and 53. But we're going to start wrapping up this video.
And before we wrap it up, I wanted to touch on these just real quick. Other stuff you put in the book, just to kind of keep thinking about them, and then we're going to close it out. So these are just other points that we're going to get to that I'm just going to kind of touch on. One of them is the deepest human need to feel loved or appreciated. That's a good one. Public affirmation to your spouse, and I think that one is public affirmation to your spouse, whether the spouse is there or not. Affirm your spouse to someone else. So I think all those especially public affirmations and affirming your spouse to the spouse or to the friends, because the point he was making too is that it's always going to come back to your spouse. So if I'm spending time telling Katie's mom how much I love her and how great she is, or my friends how great of a wife she is, or her friends how great, good looking she is, and how she does all these things for me and how nice she is, and I'm just overwhelmed with affirmations about my spouse, she's going to hear that. It's going to feel great to her. Also, I'm speaking that and I'm hearing that and feeling that.
And especially coming from someone else. You know, even though it is coming from Josh, it could be my mom or my friend saying
you're just so loved, or
yes,
I can't believe, whatever it may be, but like she's saying, it's coming from someone else, from me. And I think that goes back to the deepest human need of feeling loved or appreciated, I think. And it really just makes that person feel great about themselves. Speaking of that, I thought of too, how sometimes I hear different guys or girls talk about how attractive other people are besides their spouse. And I think that could
even if it's celebrities, because they think oh, well, obviously,
I'm never gonna.
So, yeah, it's not realistic, because I'll never.
Because it's a celebrity crush. But I think I think that could still be damaging. And
100%.
yeah, I think it's still damaging. Even if your spouse isn't there, definitely in front of your spouse it could be damaging. But then even if the spouse or the girlfriend or whatever isn't there, it could still be damaging. It's the same way, like I said, if you're saying great things about your spouse, it comes back to them. Talking about other people, your friends may not go and say, "Oh, he thinks Susie Smith is so attractive," or you think that actress is so hot, or whatever it is, or he's so handsome, or he's so. Even though as silly as it may be, your spouse wants to feel loved by you, and they want to feel, especially like men and women both alike, they want to feel attractive. They want to feel that their spouse only finds them attractive, and they want to feel loved and appreciated. It doesn't feel good to hear that your spouse thinks someone else that's not you is like their ideal person, or they love their body, or whatever it is. So that's just something to think about, because it's something I hear a lot.
I think it kind of ties back to what we spoke about in the beginning, that the tongue can speak life or death.
Oh, you're right, girl. It's true. I didn't even think about that, but it's true. Like, thinking back to that.
Like, instead of using your tongue to say that celebrity is attractive, you could have used that same sentence to give words of affirmation to your husband.
Yeah, it's like life or death, or are you building someone up?
Or breaking them
or
down.
Or tearing them down. So think about that when you're talking and speaking, and these things you're saying over and over again, whether it's with your spouse or with your friends and without your spouse. Whatever it is. Are you speaking life? Is your tongue speaking life? Or is your tongue speaking death? And then what you're hearing too, the people you're hanging around. Are they speaking life about their boyfriends, their girlfriends, their spouses? Are they speaking life? Are they speaking death? So, because you're hearing that, and you will reflect that, and
even though you're not saying it,
you still allowing it, and you think it's okay, and eventually, hey, maybe you do say it, or you just hear it so much that you begin to think it a lot, and you think it even if you never say it out loud. It becomes a part of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I just wanted to touch on those. Katie is gonna cover this question before we close it out.
So on the year turn of chapter 4, it said, what do you most want to hear your spouse say to you? So Josh and I kind of did that. We had asked each other, Josh, what do you want to hear me say to you? And Josh, vice versa. Like, what do I want Josh to say to me? And I think that's a really cool thing to do today with your spouse, because it could open up something that you never would have thought your spouse wanted to hear.
Yeah, because like I could be saying these things about Katie that I think she wants to hear. And they could still be good things, and she may still want to hear them, but she may have a missing subconscious issues, insecurities, or things that are missing that she wants to be built up, and that I'm not speaking about, her saying what she wants to hear and in the way that she wants to hear. And the same for me. Like, I'm questioning in my life, but I hear her affirming that and giving me that confidence. That could be very powerful. So yeah, like she said, take some time, do the exercise with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your spouse, and it could pay off in a big way.
Absolutely. So I hope you guys liked episode 5. If you have any questions, comments, advice, whatever it may be, please comment below. And it's Spiritual Renewal Week.
What? But back to what I was saying.
Yeah,
like this video, share this video, keep commenting below. Thanks for all the love on the videos. Thank you for watching.
And we'll see you on the next one. Anyway, you're gonna cut that. Because hold on, jump up.
Set in her.
And I know it's not just me, women. I know. Sorry.
You can see who's a little more heated about this topic. Or maybe I'm an emotional man and a strong man. But bonus footage. May or may not put this in. But to be honest, to be transparent with this, we had a hard time filming this episode today because we went busy morning, early morning, a lot going on. We're hungry, this or that. So we were actually, as we were going through this thing, a marriage talk show on how to, we were arguing a little bit because, I get flustered, she gets flustered, I say something wrong. So as we're exploring these things in the chapter, we're going through them as we're going over the chapter to make a video about it. So to that being said too, it's like, hey, it's going to happen.
No one's going to be prevented from it.
Yeah, no matter how many times you read this book or whoever you are,
it's not going to be a shield. Yeah, it's just going to, now we know.
It doesn't make you perfect. It just helps give you some tools to go over the things that you're going to come across. Yeah, that's why these are important. That's why it's good to do the things, read the books, go to the church, learn about it, walk with other married couples.
Because we're going to come to trials, but if we don't know how to overcome them, it's either going to make or break us.
Yeah.
And we don't want it to break us.
Learn how to
cope and
go through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was just a little bonus footage talking about just our personal experience with what's going on today in this moment as we film this. Thanks for walking with us on this. And again, we'll see you on the next one. We already said that, so.
Times 2.